Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is entitled At Your Door. It was written by Ellen Eisenwell, Mark Morrison, Barbara Manoui, Chris Adams, Scott D. Anielowski, and Herbert Hike. I am your game master, and this is episode 29. Our recap will be done by yours truly to bring us up to this point in time. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. It was on all of the television broadcasts the next morning. Explosion at the Salvation Citadel, Pastor Lully killed. The fire marshal said it appeared to be a gas leak, the second within a week in fair Toronto. The only witnesses were the security guards, two of which were so traumatized by what they saw that they had to be institutionalized. What the news didn't link to the event was a path of destruction and death that led from the Citadel to Lake Ontario, and from there up along the St. Lawrence River and into the Atlantic Ocean. It would be many months before authorities in Canada and the United States would realize that the disappearances, the desiccated people, the animals, and the sinking of ships followed a clear path. And of all the billions of humans that lived and breathed and struggled, only the remaining investigators knew the truth, that the great old one Rontagoth now moved freely upon the tiny sphere of the earth, feeding as it willed on the innocent. The investigators lived in silence. None of them spoke, not even to each other. Nothing needed to be said. There were no plans. They were numb. 2 days after the ordeal, they were back in San Damiel, though they didn't know what they would do. They were still on the payroll, and the cost was so very great. Dr. Ethan Carlisle was dead, and our investigators knew they had to keep that a secret for now. They would tell Slakes, and who would relay it to Jadek, but there was no sane way to explain it. Slakes listened and believed every word. He said that Ethan would be remembered as a hero when all of this was over. Needless to say, the survivors were beaten both physically and mentally. They knew more about the horrible truth of things than any conspiracy theorist ever suspected. There were dark things moving just under the surface, and nothing could really protect the world from these horrors. Days passed. Slowly, gradually, the normalcy of the world around them began to make them block the horror. Humans have this coping ability to get their minds on other business, just to go back to the routine. After a week, the investigators made a decision to ask Jade Tanaka to officially join their group. She'd been pestering them, mainly because she had figured most of it out on her own, putting things together from Dr. Carlisle's notes. She had deeply respected Ethan and his work, and she felt she needed to make his death mean something in the greater scheme of things. And this is where we begin the final chapter of our story, on the top floor of the Crocker building, with Panther Latoy on the playbill and his soft, haunting saxophone music in the background. A moment of pleasure and happiness in the midst of a long, long nightmare. So the music's playing in the background.
Listen, I've spent the last few weeks looking up all the cryptozoology I could, all the myths and legends, cross-referencing all of Ethan's notes. I mean, I got a handle on this, but you guys look like shit. Like, I not just because of his passing, but like, you look traumatized.
Look,
like,
just
I need to get a handle on. Ethan's dead. The world's being destroyed. I need to get a handle on what you saw. Like, I need to know. I need to know.
That you don't, kiddo. That you don't. Look, we look the way we do for a reason. It can't explain it to you. There's just some things that words can't express, Jade. And you're just going to have to live with that. And that's life. As cruel and cold as it is.
And for the visual, Jade is 5'0", 95 pounds, soaking wet. Short, dark hair, shoulder length, dark hair, Japanese descent.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and your enthusiasm. It might be what we needed, but right now, Panther up there is calming my nerves. The smokes are helping, and well, I know I'm on my second pack, but you know,
Do you mind if I take one of those from you, Heather?
they're unfiltered now. Pass one over.
Thanks.
And we'll raise a martini to Ethan. Remember.
Here.
So as you're sitting there,
To Ethan.
after a few minutes, the music stops. It's the end of the set, and Panther says to the audience, he says, "Folks, I'll be back in about 15 minutes to continue with the sultry sounds of the saxophone. I'm going to take a short break." And you see him walk over to the bar, and he gets a beer, and glances over at y'all, and he smiles, and he starts walking over towards you. "Well, you folks haven't seen y'all for a while. You're still here at the Crocker, huh?
For now.
You all look rather glum. Is everything okay?"
It's been a hard month. Hard life.
Yeah. They sent us on a business trip that the deal didn't break the way we thought it was going to.
Oh, my goodness.
Your
Well, that
talent
happens sometimes.
your talent for understatement is duly noted. Both of you.
But hearing you play is making me feel a little better.
Well, I'm glad that my artistry helps people in some way. Of course, you guys are out there doing the big jobs, and we're just trying to make it a little easier going.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that.
I noticed one of your numbers is missing, though. What happened to
He's moved on to other things.
Well, that happens too.
That it does. Oh, I'm sure you've lost some band members in your career. Moving on to others, brighter pastures.
Why, that sometimes is true. Yes, it is. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot in my time. People come and people go. People move on to different things.
I see.
So
So
to moving on.
Yeah, moving on. How's been Sandamia since we were on our trip?
Oh, San Damien's been about the same as it always is. This terrible heat wave going on. I don't know when it's going to end. It's like all summer long. It's been way too hot. I actually kind of like it a little.
Mm-hmm.
From New Orleans.
Yeah. They still getting the tremors?
Oh, yeah. That's California for you. In fact, they talk on the news about the big one, but then I think they talk about the big one in L.A. and San Francisco and everywhere else, anywhere along that San Andreas fault line.
Right. Yeah.
They used to say California's going to break off into the ocean. Not sure that.
That would be the day.
We could be so lucky.
Well, folks, if there's anything I can do for you, make your life a little bit cheerier. Otherwise, I will wish you well.
Well, thank you. Well, if you want to make your life a little cheerier, just play on, good sir.
You got it.
Play on.
So he dismisses himself, and he actually leaves the room. Probably has to.
Now, Heather, I thought you said these were unfiltered.
Oh, that must have been one of my leftover packs. Just break it off. It's
You know, that musician mentioned something that caught my interest. He said something about the San Andreas Fault. And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't some of the seismic activity in that stone in the fault area?
Oh yeah.
mm-hmm.
So looking over the notes, with that altar being so near the fault line, I'm wondering if that has a direct correlation to the earthquakes and somehow the weather.
Who's using it now, Jade?
I mean,
Who's using it now? I mean, who knows where Noelle is?
It's
Jenny's gone.
it's nobody's fault. We tried.
Do an intelligence roll, Shade.
We tried.
$40 out of 70.
Okay, that's pretty good. You don't have a strong background in geology. Maybe you took a class in college. But, you know, I mean, San Andreas is probably one of the most famous fault lines in the United States because it's fairly active. It moves side to side, and for a couple of 100 years, it's been sort of snagged. And they know that at some point that snag is going to break. When it does, it's going to cause a major earthquake. Whether that's centered in LA or San Francisco or whatever, they've already had big earthquakes. But when you have a fracture like that, you also have radial fractures that come off the sides and go all over the place. So it's not unusual that there are earthquakes all over California, but most of them are on the fault. And the fault is moving, that you can find places, you can find photographs of places on the fault line where people have put up fences. And after a few years, the fence is bent because it's being torn apart by the moving ground going in two different directions. And there's roads that go like this because of the fault. All right. So the evening wears away. It gets fairly late. See, maybe 1 o'clock. Maybe that's not very late. Maybe 3 o'clock.
It'd be late, especially. Whew.
Do we have we heard back from Slakes since we filed our report? Has there been any, do we have a plan of,
Slakes is planning to contact you shortly. He realized very much that you guys needed a rest. Jadic has been involved in what he calls some sort of corporate thing where he's traveling back and forth. And he admits, I'll just be him. I admit I don't know all of the details. He's gotten involved in something over the last couple of weeks that he won't tell us about, but he says that it'll be explained eventually, that it has a lot to do with some of the information that you've given us. He seems to be quite concerned that there is a leak or a mole.
And has the San Damiel branch of the Black Dragon opened?
Yes, it has. Just recently.
Have any of us been bold enough to drop in?
Oh, no, I don't think so. You want to avoid that shit at this point in time completely.
Yeah. The question is whether we want to arrange for a third gas leak.
Yeah. Okay.
In any case, you all eventually wander up to your room. I would like everybody to do a luck roll.
And for the past few days, Dr. Liege has been getting entirely sloshed.
Yeah.
I failed that.
66 is a fail.
35 normal success.
Keith,
Fail.
fail. All right, Dr. Desmond. When you get back to your room, you open up the door and you notice there is a piece of paper on the floor. Kind of fancy looking little piece of paper. Looks like a piece of stationery of some sort. You flip it over, and it is a very nice piece of stationery, gold embossed foil on the edges. And this is what it says.
My dear friends, it's Sunday here in San Daniel. I am doing well, thanks to our mutual acquaintance. I've been busy at school. It's not what we say, but what we mean that counts. There's a lovely park near the university with a pond and ducks. They make so much noise during my afternoon tea. My friend Roth has led me on an interesting journey, one I did not expect. We should meet and discuss it. But Lee Finn is in town, and you know how big his ears are. Magnus. Is this the sort of thing that I should wait until the morning to bring up, or should I start knocking on doors?
Well, that's up to you. But today is Saturday.
Uh-huh. All right, then I think that means I can sleep this buzz off and decode this with the group tomorrow. Obviously, Roth is Rothmersum. I'm not getting who Lee Finn is. Phin. Anyway.
All right, so you'll wait until the morning?
I will.
Well, let's say that you all meet up for breakfast, or you meet up in your rooms getting ready for breakfast. And
that's what I'll do. I'll as the English say, I'll knock people up in the morning because we want to have a private meeting about this.
All right, so you all get together in your room.
Okay. And busy at school. It's not what we say, but
Where's your coffee?
We'll ring up for some. This Mr. Coffee machine is just the pits.
All right, so coffee's on the way.
So obviously he wants to meet where the duck pond will prevent surveillance.
Right.
And he's talking about Rothmersum.
Yeah. And then Lee Finn.
Finley.
Oh, of course, it's Finley. He's back.
Well, what was his wife's name?
Madam Finley.
Madeline
Finley.
Yeah, her cookbook is going to take a rewrite, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
But, yeah, well, I don't know. It seems what I'm getting is that he thinks that Lee Finn is the mole. I mean, big ears.
Well, he has big ears. He's not the mole. He has a mole. Somebody's been feeding him information this whole time.
Yeah.
Or been feeding New World Industries information.
Which we already knew.
Oh my God! I see where you're getting Finley now. Sorry.
Right. And also, he's back in the States. He was hiding in the Caribbean before. But if Magnus, I'm surprised, Dr. Mills, that I got this note and not you. Anyway,
don't rub it in.
Is there a school in San Daniel?
Is there a what?
Is there a university in San Daniel?
Oh yes, University of San Daniel.
And it's a familiar enough prospect that we would know whether there's a lake on campus.
Yeah, there's a park next to Chandler Park.
So let's have our coffee and go to Chandler Park. Do we want to go as a group?
No.
Oh,
I mean, I think if we should all go, but we should all go separately at different times. Since we're going to want to get there in the afternoon, some of us should leave in the morning, some of us should leave closer to the actual time, because if we all leave as a group, anybody keeping tabs on us would be greatly interested if we all went somewhere together, because we haven't done that in a very long time.
Does anybody have a read on this? Not what we say, but what we mean that counts. Is there a math?
No, I think he's just giving us the hint that he's dropping hints instead of...
right, that he's not being literal, that there is no Finley.
Mm-hmm.
Or Leafin, or Roth, or...
Do an idea roll.
06. That's an extreme success.
ugh, pass.
As you look at his somewhat coded message, he is giving you a time to meet him as well.
Well, he says I am, looks a lot like one.
No, he's actually saying that the ducks make so much noise at tea time.
I am. Oh, before.
Got it. Yeah.
So we want to try to meet him at 4, but we want to leave somewhat staggered.
Yeah.
Is it walkable, the campus, from the hotel?
Not really.
San Diegó's a mid-sized city. Would be a bit of a walk, right?
Yeah. But you could take a car or you could take public transportation. Their public transportation is pretty good.
Well, so if one of us runs Jade back over to the lab that we have here, and then go from there to the park.
Well, I would like to go.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're coming. We're not dropping you off, but we're just trying to break up our movements. So if we go stop at the lab.
Yeah, I could go with Jade to there. I need to sign.
Well, and even if you go with Jade to there, and then you talk about, just whatever. If the mole is at the lab, you could definitely misdirect them away from the park. But
right, yeah, I need to talk to Jack anyway. I got to sign a certificate. So
Why don't we send out false oh my god, timeline, like what do you call it,
itinerary?
thank you. We'll leave it around that some of us are going to hear a conference, some of us are going to the library,
no, you don't have to go that far.
Dr. Leach and I are going back to that same bar.
You could even just talk about how you're thinking about trying the new Black Dragon restaurant. All right, the mole will pick up on that, and they're going to fixate on that. Yeah, that's all you have to say.
That might get us watched stronger so they know when we're going.
Maybe.
Nonsensical things, library to hear some lecture.
Yeah, I think a little more random is good too, especially given the Black Dragon's relationship to the place.
Just give them.
That's fair.
If the
Boring
mole
stuff.
picks
But
up
I mean, I've been mostly hiding and reading for the past week, so
Yeah, we could say that you've all sort of developed a routine over the last week. Maybe you're staying inside. Maybe you're going to the drugstore down the street. Maybe you're going to buy liquor. Maybe you're going to the library to sit quietly for hour after hour. So there are ways that you can look like you're just doing the same thing you're always doing. And
Yep. So nobody break routine until 4.
Yep. Well, I've been going to buy my cigarettes. I'll just go someplace else to buy in.
No, everybody do exactly what they did all week, but then veer off after that.
Yeah.
all right. Is there anything you want to do during the day until 4 o'clock other than just your routine?
I'll, of course, check the paper. I'm interested in how the homeless population's doing. They're still dropping.
Well, there is still a homeless problem, but you think that there's a lot of speculation that the heat is the biggest problem.
Right.
The homeless are trying to just get the hell away from the heat because they're exposed to it all day long.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing has been happening at the lab. They've run into dead ends in every direction, or mysteries that they just can't solve without more information, which they don't have.
Right.
There's no interesting news since we've come back from Toronto about either New World Industries or Full Wilderness.
None whatsoever. Well, full wilderness, nothing of interest. I mean, it's still got its fingers in a lot of different projects, saving the rainforest, the dolphins, the endangered species of the world. And
Yeah.
What about the Sasquatch Watch? Their bulletin. Has there been any more activity out at that stone?
Has a whole month passed? I think that they're starting to lose interest because they've already been out there a few times, and they're sort of moving on to UFOs at this point. Nothing seems, like I say, things all just sort of seem to be going back to normal.
Right.
I imagine after the news about Big Jetty's departure, the Sasquatch Watch folks felt like they'd been barking up their own great black slab of rock.
It's true, because Jenny was on TV.
Yeah.
They made a sensation out of her, and then she disappeared.
And there hasn't been any news about her, of course, or her offspring.
And as you recall, the last thing that was mentioned was that there seemed to be some sort of government officials around at the time.
Yeah.
So your best guess is that they've spirited her off somewhere.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, besides reading the paper, just my normal routine until it gets the ducks.
Okay. All right. So 3:45, 4 o'clock, 3:45 or so. You guys wander into the park, perhaps from different directions, whatever. And you see the pond. It's a fairly large pond with a path going around it. There are trees, there's grass, there are people feeding the ducks. And you can see on the opposite shore is Magnus Glansandi sitting on the bench. He's dressed in a suit. He's sitting rather stiffly, and he occasionally throws some breadcrumbs to the ducks that flock in front of him. You have to kind of walk around to get to him.
Okay.
But after a moment, and he does not openly act like he knows you.
Okay.
How far is the duck pond away from where he's sitting?
Literally 5 feet.
So I'm going to sit on the grass by the edge of the pond and pretend I'm just playing with the ducks.
Okay.
I'm going to find an empty adjacent bench.
I'm going to go sit by him because it's my only chance to be close to him.
All right. So he says, we have to be very careful. I don't have time at the moment to tell you everything, but I will get you started. There has been something going on. I came down here to meet with your Mr. Jadick because I'd begun to suspect things at Rothersham that had a great deal to do with your Mr. Finley. And a jogger runs by and he's just like, he just shuts up. The guy goes by. We've been looking into another company, Neurogen Industries, that Finley seems to be associated with in some way. And we're not exactly sure, but very shortly we will find out what they're up to, and we may need your assistance. We suspect a few things, but we suspect too many different things to say anything at this point. But something might be coming to Sandamio. Something that we're worried about.
Does
something have a name?
Not yet.
is this Neurogen Industries? Is it where are they based out of?
They're based out of Indiana, but you won't find them on the map. I wouldn't go looking for them.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm strolling around casually, whistling tunelessly as one does, looking at the pond, eavesdropping. How does Dr. Glansandi look? Is he getting sleep?
He looks fine. Healthy. Actually, remarkably pretty. He looks pretty good.
Let's bring him. Unlike us.
He's a big
yeah.
fellow, right?
I mean, if Panther's going to sit down at our table and tell us we look like Rex, he's a blues man. So if he thinks we look like Rex, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
What he also says, we may be very much in danger. So keep your eye open. I will keep track of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
We should have a code of some sort so that you know that it's me. I'll have to send you clandestine messages from time to time, and I've already relocated once. I'll have to relocate again just to make sure. That's not to paint such a dark picture after all of the darkness that you've already experienced, but I think that we can work, we can help, we can stop something that's going to happen. What code should we use? The ducks?
I like the ducks. Yeah, it's a pretty place to sit. The ducks. Yeah. Hey, you could just if you need to contact us, just leave something off in my room. Remember, it's room 13. I think you got the note at the wrong room last time.
Well, the time may come when we have to all relocate, but
So when you say we, like we are in danger, we might need to are you just talking about you and us, or are there others with you?
I'm not going to say that out loud, but we have people working on this as well as you, trying to cut the snake's head off before it gets too far. Trust me, I will keep you informed as best I can. I don't know enough yet, but I've been working with your Mr. Jadick. He's also in on this. That's why he's been a little bit unavailable lately.
Right. Okay.
Well, we can trust you a little bit, but trust is a hard thing to come by these days.
I understand. I'm a man of my word. You'll get exactly what I've said I will send to you, and after it's all over, we'll have dinner.
I'm gonna get up and walk from the pond, like around the benches, like I'm not even, and I'm gonna say the ducks are beautiful, but I kind of worry that there's a mole back somewhere. Not at him, but like so he knows that hopefully he gets what I'm meaning.
Yeah.
Look, we've been through a lot, and you know that we've been through a lot. Okay, you don't have to pep our hopes up. There's not much of that left.
I'm afraid there's nobody else who can help. Nobody else would believe it.
Right.
I have to go.
Oh, okay. It was good to see you. I hope to hear from you again.
He stands up and he flings the rest of the crumbs out into the ducks, and the ducks sort of make a quackity quack noise, and he turns and just walks away as if he doesn't know who you people are. You're just strangers. You see him walk across the path, and he goes through the trees to where the parking lot is.
How's the shadow?
Yeah, his shadow's a big shadow. Big.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna take a leisurely stroll back towards the hot dog cart over there.
Okay.
All right, well, now that, Jade's a little distance from... so all the other doctors are here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do it. We're looking around for anybody with a camera or any other surveillance thing. But
That's why I figured if we split up and meet someplace away, in case somebody's watching.
You can all do spot hiddens.
40 is good.
80. I'm spotting everything.
Yeah.
That squirrel.
Those hot dogs look really good.
There's a little camera in the end of the hot dog.
Exactly.
Well, whether you passed or whether you failed, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
But
it seems like Lansandi chose very well, a very good spot. That there's no easy way that you could surveillance this spot. You certainly couldn't hear.
Right.
Well, I'm just gonna... It's like, well, I guess we find ourselves in a predicament again.
Agreed. Yeah. I was hoping we were near the end of understanding, but
I don't think that there's really any other way out for us other than the way of Ethan at this point.
I feel uncertain about this Jade girl. It just seems like she's so young and she doesn't understand what she's getting into. She doesn't understand.
It's a pretty deep damn rabbit hole.
Well, she doesn't understand, but I am not feeling that she's going to soon. Because look, we're broken. I mean, we've been through so much, and it looks like that we're going to need to go through a little bit more. I think I'm willing to do it. There's nothing else to do with my life at this point.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can't deny what we've experienced. We know things that most people couldn't deal with, but I don't know if we want to let her know those things. And frankly, it's nice that Magnus has faith in us as the last respite for our species. But, I don't know on what basis he has that. And he doesn't look like he's gone through a sleepless night. Heather.
well,
They seem to sleep through everything and feel calm and relaxed.
he's very confident.
Well, the thing is, if we can't force Jade away, I mean, you've seen her enthusiasm. If we don't let her join us, then she's going to go try it on her own, and who knows what will happen to her at this point. If the danger is so elevated, if there are agents, so many agents working against us, her poking around by herself will get her killed, or worse.
Do you think Magnus is paranoid?
A little, but I think it's justified.
Yeah.
There's definitely a drama to Magnus. He's made numerous references to television and movies. So this whole clandestine thing in the park seems like it's right out of a spy novel.
Yeah.
Speaking of agents, on the bench, and well, it's a little ways, and he was talking quietly, but Neurogen.
Neurogen. Yeah.
Did he have an address?
He says that
Oh.
they're not on the map. They're probably
Yeah.
just incorporated. That's a common thing. Businesses can incorporate wherever they want. They can they could have a law firm incorporate them if they really want to. If they want to be off the grid, they're off the grid. I mean, and if they're connected to New World Industries, they have plenty of funds to do whatever legal smoke screens they want.
Right.
I mean, and if they have Jadix sneaking around these days,
If they had
they've got a lot of leverage.
If they had an address can be fought. Addresses are easy.
Yeah.
But no, we've got a name.
All right. Now, you have nothing on your schedule for the rest of the day. It's 4:00. Is there anything that you would like to do?
I think we should take Jade out to dinner and tell her not everything, but make sure that she understands that there's no turning back and that we can't guarantee her life. We need to make sure that she understands.
I think we have to. She has to know what she's buying into. That she
knows Ethan's gone, but I don't think she really understands.
How could she? I mean, and she see what happened to him. I would also like to see what there is publicly on Neurogen at the library before we pick her up from the lab.
All right. So you want to go to the library?
Yeah, and I was wanting to get the local music paper. I was wanting to see if God's Lost Children still had advertisements, or if maybe they're not booking anymore because maybe some of them got human trafficked out of town.
All right. Both of you do library roles. We'll assume this is happening. The rest of you might be doing other things.
In case some of them have become a chow.
Yeah, exactly. That was a hard success.
Regular success, 38.
Okay. God's Lost Children. They are currently booked in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They seem fine.
Okay.
Now, Lurleen and her buddies were not part of that. They just were fans.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You look up any kind of listing to see if you can find Neurogen in Indiana, I believe he said. There is nothing. There are company names that are similar, close, but there is no Neurogen Industries.
And there's no stock market tag for Neurogen, and there's no CEO of Neurogen.
Nothing.
As far as the public record knows, Magnus had a fever dream and made up that name.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
And I'm trying a G and a J. Okay.
I wonder if they're government. They would be completely off the radar then.
Not only can we not arrange a gas leak for them, but we can't even find out who principals are, which I would have liked to do because I would like to link people. Heather, did you get the impression from Magnus that Finley was physically in town, or just that his influence is spread or continues to be felt?
The latter. I did not get the impression that he was implying that Finley was in town.
But he seemed to think that agents of Finley were in town, or agents of Neurogen. Again, he seems a little paranoid, but he also seems cautious in intelligent ways.
Finley is Neurogen, is NWI, is everybody. Finley is involved still, no matter how remote. But you're right, I agree that he himself is not an immediate threat. The people he's working for and with are.
And just talking about this makes me think about being in his living room with Madeline and how nearly we got eaten. I'm going to have to go somewhere and lie down for 10 minutes. It's just so fucking awful.
As the smell of Chinese food wafts across the park.
They were cooking duck!
It's people. It's people.
People.
Do
All
you
right.
smell egg rolls?
Yeah.
So you're going to
Egg
have
rolls
dinner
or
with-
leg rolls?
a hand sandwich. All right, so you're going to have dinner with Jade. Do you want to do that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you are having dinner with Jade at a very nice little restaurant.
Not the Black Dragon.
No.
What is geologically opposite Tibet? Like Iowa, maybe? We get a nice meal of corn, boiled corn.
American food, yeah.
Yeah.
So right,
Somewhere loud.
You go to the country kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
we go to the country kitchen. The California country kitchen spelled with 3 Ks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Ooh.
Happens. And we spend a little while trying to make it clear to Jade that, Ethan didn't have a stroke. Like what we're involved in, you have a sense of it, I think.
Oh, I've been looking up that mother goddess and I can't find anything about it. I know he explained to me about an alien, and he talked to me about some creature that is genetically enhanced with a dog.
Look, Jade.
Your blessings.
I don't know how to. There are things on this earth that are well beyond us. Okay? Where they come from, what they want, I don't know. None of us know. Okay? All I can tell you is that something I can't explain and hope to God that I never see again sucked Ethan dry. Okay? Like a raisin. Okay, there are things out there that will kill us. And it won't be pretty. Okay, welcome to the club. If you want in, great, we're happy to have you. But just know that none of us here can guarantee your safety or survival, physically or mentally. Okay, if you're in it, you're in it. But if you want to walk, that's fine.
I owe it to Ethan, and in turn, I owe it to you all. So, I'm in.
If it's worth anything, we might be doing something important. We might be just fools. But
From the last letter from Ethan, he explained that, and I don't know if he was exaggerating, but he said that the fate of the world rests on your shoulders. Now, I didn't know how literal to take it, but if he thought it was that important, so do I.
So look, for all we know, the world might already be over. Okay, we're going to do our best to prolong that. but a lot of things have happened in the last 2 months.
We don't even know what's happened in the last 2,000 years. We just know that there are creatures that are real, that are beyond our imagining, and whose power is terrifying. And there are people among us that are eager to have truck with them for their own advantage. And and there is a crisis brewing.
It looks
Are you going to
like...
finish this fries?
Oh, go right ahead. At least they had a fish option on the menu.
Okay, but I want you to do, Jade, just look. I want to give you as close of a taste as you're going to get before any real danger starts. I want to slip a copy of the Endurance Chant across to Jade.
What is this?
You said you're in. How about you read it and you find out, kid?
You sure?
Look, she says she's in. And we don't got time to just mess around here.
Let's say it's 7 p.m. right now.
So
Should be up all night.
So she's got to know.
like read this out loud?
Read it out loud.
And she begins reading it.
All right. For some
And when she says the holy name, I lower my head.
Yeah. As you finish it, Jade, you feel a sudden wash of nausea come over you, as if something is terribly wrong. But then, as it flows through you, it wells back up inside, and you suddenly feel all of this strength and energy. You're amazed at the way you feel. The statistics on there for the chant, if you still have them, go ahead and roll those and tell me how long it's going to last. And
I don't have it.
1d10 hours plus 30 strength plus 30 constitution. After the hour has passed, you have to make a strength test and a constitution test. A failure on either of those is a permanent 5 reduction.
And then how long does the sleep last? I forget.
It lasts, so if you say it lasts 5 hours,
Same number of hours.
it's
Yeah.
the same number of hours down.
Okay.
I rolled a 10.
So you're going to be wide awake for 10 hours and dancing around, and then you're going to be sleeping for 10 hours.
Now, Jade talked a decent amount before. She just tripled that, and you guys are listening to it.
But, what?
Yeah.
Are those fries any good, Desmond?
Tequila, please.
I think the mayonnaise helped.
What is it?
You know, I think the fries are better with mayonnaise.
I don't want to eat anything. I want to drink.
Try mixing.
Let's go to a club.
try
I know a
mixing
club.
Ketchup. Try mixing
here-
ketchup with the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I've heard of some people doing that.
Well, that's a big thing where I'm from. It's just
Maybe a little hot sauce.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she is up and awake and dancing around.
Yep, there's
What
two
are the
things.
What are the rest of you?
Well, just two things, Jade. One, magic's real, kiddo, and two, pray that you never see what's giving you that energy.
Where does this come from? This is amazing. Why don't we do this every day? We could use this. I could use this for my graduate degree.
Jade. The crash is a bitch.
Yeah. It's kind of like burning the
Speaking
candle
of-
at both ends and the
Speaking of
middle.
two understatements,
Mhm. Yeah.
And it comes from the Divine Mother.
That's this Shub Niggurath.
says it, and I visibly just
That's the one that Ethan, I've been looking for weeks up on this, and I can't find anything about it. And do you want to dance? Come on! And I grab Margaret's hand and try to pull her up. Come on, Desmond, come. Let's get
Slow down there, Jade.
this place is too. Come on, let's go. This is kind of rednecky. I know a good place.
Jade, you've been watching all of this and reading the reports you've gotten back, and now you feel so bright and alive. Is anything connecting that you think we've missed all this time?
I think there's something with the fault lines, but I'm not a geologist. And let me work on it. I wish I could read about this, some more about this. Like I couldn't find anything about this being in any of the books.
Her name has been secret, I think, for thousands of years. I have a book. You might actually spend your hyper lucid hours. Do you have it in Latin?
No, Japanese and English.
You have a modicum of Latin just because you're a zoologist, but it's not enough to read.
Yeah, I have been making notes in a translation, so you might be able to get something out of it.
Oh, please.
Everybody but Jade, I would like you to do a 1d2 roll.
Yeah.
So a 6 and then, higher low.
1.
2.
I'm sorry, David, I wasn't looking. 1.
1.
And
I want to make sure to give my 2 in the right direction.
Yeah.
sure.
Sorry.
Heather, what was yours?
1.
And Dr. Liege?
2.
2. Okay. All right, done.
Okay.
That's for later.
All right.
Is there any other books I could read? I mean, I need to know about this. What about that dog man that Ethan talked about?
No, look.
Oh, he got locked up. Oh, yes. He's still in. Still
He's
locked up?
down there somewhere.
I meant the guy that made him.
Oh, no. He's talking about. Jade is talking about the
friend.
The ghoul, I
person from the
believe.
cave.
He was referred to by Ethan as a ghoul. I can't recall his
No,
name.
we're not talking about the crocodile monstrosity that was made by Gaul.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about that thing in the cave.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Not the bug, but the other thing.
We need to give these things zoological nomenclature.
Was there really a bug guy? There really was a bug guy, right?
Yeah, he took all our blood.
You talked us into giving him blood samples, and he was a bug.
Jade, really, think twice.
I mean, if this is just the start of it, I mean, this is going to be amazing.
No.
Now I
no.
understand why you all look so tired, because you've probably been
Jade.
energized for days. And
Exactly.
It's not. I need to set you straight right here. It's not amazing. You are not going to come out of this thinking such a great experience it all was. It will change your view of the world, but not for the positive.
All right, let's move on from here. Let's ask a few questions. Dr. Flores, you mentioned to Jade about the book. She wants to see it. You've made notes. So she is going to, you've invited her back to your room on the up and up, of course, and she has sat down with the book. She is going to be wide awake until 5 a.m.
Where do our staffers stay? They're not in the same hotel.
Yes, they are. They're just in connecting rooms.
Yeah, I thought we were sharing suites or something
Right.
at the beginning. So I can, have a muffin and send her off. She might come back periodically with excited questions
You could.
and bother my sleep, but I'm gonna, at a certain point, I'll be firm.
She's also managed to close out Dr. Ethan's account so that his room is no longer available. So she's just got hers. But her room is, we'll just say, directly across from yours, Dr. Flores. It makes it convenient. So if you shook her away, she goes there. The rest of you fall asleep by 1. You're pretty beat from the night before. Okay. I never asked this before, but how do you guys prepare for sleep? What are you guys all wearing? Dr. Liege, what do you wear to bed?
T-shirt, shorts.
Okay. Heather?
Probably shorts, a nightgown, and a little face peel mask.
Okay. David?
It's about 50-50 whether I wear shorts or I sleep naked. It's not going to work out, obviously.
How are you sleeping tonight?
I rolled a 20, so that's naked.
Okay, so you're naked. And Dr. Evans, how are you sleeping?
Dr. Evans has somewhat given up taking care of herself a little bit, so she kind of just crashes in whatever she was wearing.
Okay, clothes.
So daytime clothes.
All right.
Before I go to sleep, so I'll go over and knock on Desmond's door. Just
Okay. Desmond's flossing.
Hi, how are we doing?
Hey, you got a moment?
Absolutely, come in.
Come and look at these, and I'll have some photographs of just various microscopic images of both bacteria, some fungi, blah 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 blah. Desmond, do you want to look at these and tell me what you see?
Do you want to tell me what I'm looking for?
Well, can you identify what they are? They're just like E. coli.
Right, that's got the flagella there. We've got it doesn't have a cell wall. What am I looking for?
So you can see what they are.
Yeah, I mean, presuming that these are magnified to the extent I assume.
Ever since that damn... Well, I don't see bacteria. I don't see anything. I just see her. I see it.
Do you mean the Divine Mother?
No, I haven't drank your Kool-Aid, but yes.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My impression is that she is the source of all life. So everything is a recapitulation of her form. And I grant her form is very frightening when you first recognize it. But when you see the fractal nature, the multiplicity of structures, you recognize, as you say, that which is in a fungus, and that which is in a root system, and that which is in the human brain. And that the multiplicity is daunting, but it's beautiful.
Almost 2 decades. I've been staring at life. I understand it. You can't say that we looked at the sample the first day we got here. We looked at the sample, the specimen, and that wasn't the same. That's not of this earth. That does not belong here.
Do you mean the stump-like offspring that were made?
Yeah,
Those were not natural creatures. Those were forged by human technologies that were insufficient, inferior, did not understand.
those are the closest sample that we have to whatever that thing was, though. If it behaves in any way, shape, or form like our specimen did, that has no place. That has no place here. I cannot agree with your assessment that she's natural, that she's nature.
I think that your concern about material from her person might not be safe here. That seems very reasonable.
Well, it certainly isn't. We saw how it affected Jenny. Who knows what she's become now?
Jenny had no regrets.
Well, I've got many.
Yes. And this thing is large and complicated. But I don't think that I'm sorry. What is it that frightens you? She's real. She's here. She is bigger than all of us.
That thing at the church.
Well, that was an abomination.
That bomb should have leveled the whole damn floor. And it survived.
You don't mean the Reverend. You mean the thing that skittered away into space. Yeah, well, that's why I don't understand what our real mission is, because we keep seeming to just unleash these monstrosities into the world. As far as I know, if Ethan hadn't been there, that statue wouldn't have had enough mana or juice or something to fly away. We don't know what we're doing except making things worse. We did not stop any bad thing from happening. That's why I can't sleep.
Our original job was to find that biologist. We haven't even done that.
Now, all I think we've proven is that we don't understand the way his death was faked. That's all we've learned. And that he was a pervert.
It might not have been faked. He might be very... In fact, I guarantee he's well and truly dead.
I'm not even sure about that. Well,
Who else has survived?
Well, indeed. The only reason I assume that he's dead is because everyone else we talked to was dead. Now, these bacteria, there's nothing about these that I'm not noticing.
No,
You're just.
I took stock photos from our.
Yeah.
The E. coli samples from.
Yeah, it looks like a textbook.
Yeah.
And did you want to talk about this because of the whole Jade problem, or just because we're so over our heads?
Well, I'm running out of options. The explosive option didn't work. Biology's flown the coop. If we run into another one of these things, what the hell are we going to do?
The only idea I have about that, and it's not a great one, but I feel like we took a bunch of pea shooters into combat with a deity, and so if we're gonna risk combat, direct conflict with something else, we need to have things that, you know, that might hurt a human, let alone hurt a deity.
Yeah. Well, you seem to have a reasonable grip on the more, dare I say, eclectic things we've been running into.
Is there somebody you don't feel is still trustworthy? I mean, I think Heather and Margaret are still in good shape.
Oh, certainly. But
And honestly, Ethan was pretty far gone before we got out of that damn cave. So, although I do not relish his passing, I think that a lot of him had passed already.
true. A lot of them didn't leave the cave. But speaking of, are you feeling all right? You seem strangely religious, if you catch my meaning.
I don't see how it is possible, if it is the case for you. We've been kind of, we've kept separate space a lot since we came back from Canada. We saw some kind of alien god fly out of that place. So we know that there are things that are completely beyond our science and our understanding. I mean, we have to physically recognize that we don't know what those things are or capable of. And given that, and given the fact that Shub-Niggura, the Divine Mother, seems to embody every kind of biological form, and obviously is, powerful and vast and real, I don't know why you would refuse that understanding, that knowledge.
Well, alien I agree with. God, that didn't seem like a creator. None of them do. They seem, I don't know.
Consider, I think Carl Sagan says it, maybe life arrived here on an asteroid. What if she's like an asteroid, but 1,000,000 times greater? Not a god, but in between us and a god. We're just pond scum. You know that.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I've got a lot to sleep on. And I suppose you do too. Just warn me before you start going door to door.
I don't have a pamphlet. There's no way to tell anyone anyway.
That'd be a hell of a pamphlet.
Although Jade, if she's reading what I'm reading, you want to look at Jade, perhaps, because she might learn the truth.
Case study.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, Dr. Flores.
Sweet dreams, Dr. Leash.
All right. So you both retire to your rooms, and you have a little. You're afraid you're going to have a trouble going to sleep, but you're very tired. You're tired and exhausted, and once again, this seems to be all starting up again with Glansandi talking to you about it. At 7 a.m., Dr. Liege, Dr. Evans, you wake up. You're not necessarily refreshed, but you're lay there in bed for a few minutes and you're pretty sure that you can't go back to sleep. You get up, you take your quick showers, you brush your teeth, and you start to get dressed for the day. All the rest of you are asleep. Margaret, you are Jade, you are completely crashing. You're sound asleep, snoring away, and nothing's going to wake you up. At 7:33 a.m., the building begins to rock. A low rumble runs through everything. Dr. Liege and Dr. Evans, you're immediately aware that it's an earthquake, and you can feel the building rocking side to side on the level. You can hear the rumble. Heather and Desmond, you are still asleep, but after a couple of seconds, you begin to wake up just as the building suddenly vibrates and shakes stronger side to side. Seconds go by, and it becomes, instead of going away, it gets worse. Just as a person might begin to cough and then is unable to control the cough, so the earth begins to shake more strongly. I would like to know what you all are doing. Some of you are just waking up. Jade, you are sound asleep. And the other two you realize that this isn't slowing down. It seems to be ramping up.
Yeah, since I've been awake for a bit, I'm getting into a door frame.
Yeah, what floor are we on?
You're on the 13th floor, I believe, or I forget which floor. You're up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think 12th, which is about the worst place.
Pretty close, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna dive into a bathtub.
Heather will do. She's lived 20 years in California. She'll do what the training for an earthquake is. I do not know it personally what that is.
Probably at 10 seconds, you're just ignoring it. But astonishingly, it doesn't stop. It starts to get stronger. The rocking of the building grows stronger. There's a great rumbling noise coming from everywhere. Desmond, you're awake, and you are naked. The sound is more felt than heard, and then suddenly your ears are diverted by the slap of pictures falling off the walls. You see windows rattling, and the shadow, and you can suddenly hear glass breaking in the distance. Enormous forces are squeezing the building from the sides, and the windows are beginning to pop out. Bottles and lamps and eyeglasses and books start bouncing across tabletops, and the floor almost visibly wiggles and crawls under your feet. You can now hear people in other rooms calling out in fright, and you can see out the windows that the same thing is happening to the other buildings across the street. Windows are breaking out. You can hear the distant sound of glass hitting the street down below. And still, it doesn't stop. And Jade, you are sound asleep. And things are falling all around you inside the room. So now what are you all doing at this point?
Bracing.
Okay, you're in the doorway. Do a luck roll.
06.
Okay. As you're standing there, you realize you have to sort of brace the door, because there's a moment when the door suddenly comes swinging at you because it's being swung side to side. You have to sort of hold it to keep it from hitting you. Desmond, where are you now?
I was asleep when the whole rocking started. We're pretty high up. I saw the alarm clock dancing on the nightstand, and I rolled out of bed and then under bed. And I'm holding one of the legs of the bed
Okay.
and hoping for the best.
And you find that the bed is starting to skitter across the room when you're heading towards the far wall. Let's see. Heather, what are you doing?
I would have went to hide in the bathtub.
Okay. You've run into the bathroom and you're there, and you've gotten into the bathtub, and suddenly some of the pipes in the walls behind the sink rupture, and water comes spewing out of the wall at fairly high velocity. Dr. Leash, I think you also jumped into the bathtub.
Yep. Bathtub club.
The bathtub visibly begins to crack while you're in there, and still the earthquake continues. It's been 25 seconds at this point. All of a sudden, the earthquake sort of changes direction. Where it was rolling before, it suddenly gains a sort of vertical thing, and for a couple of seconds, almost suspended in time, you see all of the furniture in your room suddenly leap a foot into the air. You all leap with it, and then everything comes crashing down off the ground. You as well. Plaster cracks, and all of the electricity in the building goes out. Of course, it's morning, so you can see light. Outside, you can see fire coming from other buildings. You can see smoke rising up, and still everything continues to shake. You can hear fire alarms in the distance going off. Fire alarms in this building as well, but on a lower level. And then, at about 35 seconds, your view out the window changes. Everything lurches about 20 degrees as the ground, once again, just changes direction. You're thrown on the floor. You can all do 1d4 damage as pieces of plaster, dirt, and rocks, from the blocks from the building come down. Yes,
I take damage also?
Yep.
So 1d4 you said?
Yeah, and your reaction to it is like, oh, this let me sleep.
Ooh, 3 points.
I took 1.
There's another sharp lift, and it's not quite as stunning as the first, but you can hear walls, glass, and everything crashing all around you. The din is terrible. You hear screams from other rooms, and parts of the ceiling break loose and fall down. The light fixtures and everything. The whole thing lasts 49 seconds. And it begins to start to slow down and settle, and there is dust and smoke, and everything is a horrible disaster. And Jade is still lying there on the bed with rubble all over the back, all over her body, injured but asleep.
All right, well, I'm going to the door next to me, the room next to me. Who was that? Who was next to my room?
I don't know. Whoever.
Oh, we were probably sharing the interior door.
Well, I'll just rush over. Heather, are you okay?
Oh no! I got some plaster.
Water
Cut me
is everywhere. Jeez. Here, let me help you out.
No, I wore a white T-shirt too. It was a bad choice, but I'll go.
Well, I'm going to pick you up in the second. I kind of pick you up and just Jade read the chant.
Oh no, she probably doesn't even know anything's happening.
That's where I'm going to go to next.
Yeah, we need to get out of here because aftershock could be coming.
Okay, do a luck roll.
Ooh, pass.
A 30 is a pass. This is the most luck rolls I've ever passed in my life.
Okay. In that case, the earthquake has partly popped open her door. Otherwise, it would
Okay.
have jammed it so that you would have hit.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to run in there and guess.
You see her lying on the ground with drywall and plaster and wires and stuff like that laying all across her. And she's snoring.
I took 3 points of damage from that also, so I probably have a big shiner and maybe a cracked rib.
Yeah, she's bleeding. Actually, most of you are probably bleeding from minor injuries and scrapes and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Well, here, help me pick her up, Heather.
Okay.
Also, when you stepped into the hallway, you can see other people in the hallway too, panicking and freaking out and trying to figure out what to do. And somebody's trying to organize them to get to the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
The
All
elevator.
right, well, I think we'll take Heather if you want to help me get Jade. I mean, she's really small, so we can just kind of pick her up.
I could fireman's carrier out of there pretty easy.
Do I stir at all, or I'm still out?
At the most, you're just cranky. You're not aware that you're a sleeping person.
So, would I have any faculties to me, or
Not really.
all right?
Yeah.
And you're
All right, so
you're going to be out technically until 3 p.m. and it is 7:30 in the morning.
all right, so go in the hallway. Do I see Flores or Leash?
Oh, good. You've got Jade. Where are the rest of our interns?
I think they already went down the stairs.
Do I smell smoke?
Yes.
Are there the sprinklers on?
Not where you are. Actually, I take that back. The sprinklers come on for a few minutes and then they stop.
And if I look at what's left, is the window broken? The window to the outside?
The windows, yes, many of them are. The one that you're in your room is broken.
So if I look down from, something like 12, 13, 14 stories, is there smoke evident?
All of San Damiel is in smoke and fire. Buildings have toppled over. Damage is everywhere. The streets are just filled with rubble.
Did one of my did a bottle of hard liquor survive in my room?
Do a luck roll.
That's pass. That's pass.
And I will say 1 bottle of hard liquor.
All right, that is literally all I need, and it's not to drink. Did anyone get sprayed by the water on an open wound?
Jade did.
All right.
That water is still flowing too. There's water on your floors and
Jade and Heather.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get out of here. But we definitely need to disinfect that as soon as possible.
Where's Dr. Flores?
I'm putting some papers in a leather satchel.
Oh, but did you ever put your clothes on?
Probably.
Desmond,
Just
put on a
after.
robe or something.
I mean, that's what I was thinking about hotel rooms. They have nice robes.
Yeah.
So priorities are textual materials that cannot be recovered. So I've got my binder that's got the Vermis Mysteries in it. Anything else that's grabbable into a satchel and then a robe and then downstairs. And I told you people I hated California.
All right. Well, going down is not easy. There are crowds of people trying to get into the stairs and go down. And people are panicking and freaking out, and it's like horrible traffic. Nobody wants to let you even in to go down because they're going down. They're trying to save themselves. And it's absolute panic, and it's not panic, but it's a disaster.
Right.
I'm gonna try and calm people down.
Okay.
to get some semblance of order.
Okay. You should all
This
do
will be
sound rolls too.
this will be yelling. But everyone, please calm down.
You say stand rolls?
Yeah, sound rolls.
Trampling each other is not going to help any of us get out of the building faster.
20 is a pass.
46 is a fail.
Okay. If you pass 1d2, if you fail 1d4 sand damage. And you can see that people everywhere are reacting differently. There are even people with nervous laughter because they have no way of knowing how to deal with this disaster. There's people in every kind of, wearing everything from bathrobes to fully clothed. Most of them have suitcases and coats, and the stairs go down and down and down forever.
Does my little speech help at all?
Really.
No, darn.
People.
Not even going to make me roll for it.
Yeah, well, okay. Do a persuade roll.
Exactly what I wanted. Oh, that's a fail.
Okay, yeah.
Darn.
Shut up, mister.
Or if they lip off, I just swing Jade's legs into their face. Yeah.
Swinging Jade. Well, I lost 2 sanity, so I'm ready to get out of this building.
Okay, you finally meet some hotel staff on the way down, and they're also panicked because they're trying to run up and down the hallways of the floors and make sure that everybody's out of their rooms. It's a very precarious and dangerous situation. The stairwell is damaged in places, and you have to carefully make your way around things. You have a choice of whether you want to save yourselves or help save others. Of course, some of you are carrying Jade.
Yep, currently I'm saving others. Others being Jade.
I'll pass off my bottle to whoever's closest. Be like, here, rinse off your open wounds once you get out.
Thank you. Take that.
All right. You'll eventually make it down to the lobby, which is somewhat triangular now that you think to yourself, curses on the fact that it's all steel and glass. There is broken glass everywhere. There are shards of glass jammed into the floor like harpoons from above. People are trying to make their way outside, but that's dangerous too. And at any moment there could be a shock wave that everything that's been loosened is now going to fall. So people are still somewhat panicked. There's places where emergency areas have been cordoned off by duct tape. And as you are making your way out into the street, you can see that there are piles of rubble everywhere. There's no way vehicles or rescue vehicles or anything can get into San Damiel, but they sort of try to move you into an area where you are in the least bit of danger from things falling from above. And somebody has a small radio, battery-powered radio. And you can hear on the radio this information. The quake occurred at 7:33 a.m. It was centered 4 miles east of San Damiel along the well-known Sabidura Estrellada fault, which is connected to the San Andreas fault, which bisects San Damiel suburbs and continues east into the sea. The shock registered an 8.9 on the Richter scale, one of the most powerful temblors ever recorded. Damage is apparently enormous, but communications are too fragmented to allow an accurate picture to develop. Freeways, phone lines, and power lines are down. Travel is extremely hazardous. Everyone is requested to stay where they are. The governor of California has declared a state of emergency. It says here that later in the day you'll find out that martial law is being declared with 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. curfews. All emergency personnel, including policemen, city public workers, employees, National Guard troops, public utility employees, doctors and nurses, and civil defense personnel are ordered to report to prearranged emergency locations. Electricity, water, telephone, natural gas, and public transportation have been shut off to be reestablished. Nobody knows when. Thousands of buildings have collapsed or have reported to have collapsed. Many city blocks are reported on fire, and all firefighters are already committed. Citizens confronted by fire should abandon those buildings since all water supplies have been interrupted. Citizens fight their fires at their own risk since neither fire nor medical aid is likely for hours or days. People are being evacuated as best as possible from the coast because it's very likely that a tsunami is anticipated from the compression wave of the earthquake.
San Daniel is not coastal, is it?
Yeah, it's right on the beach.
Oh, it is. Perfect.
Yep, we've got a lovely little bay.
Inland!
There are also 2 water reservoirs east of Samson that have collapsed and flooded downstream communities. You guys are in the middle of the city. You're fairly up away from the coast. However, the San Daniel River is right there, so the water will most likely come up. And in fact, 25 minutes after the major earthquake, tsunami does hit the coastline, and the water comes up the river and floods the street to about 1.5 feet deep, and it'll take it some time before it drains back. So that is where you are now, in the midst of this natural disaster.
So after trying to help, after I handed off my bottle of alcohol, I would try and help hotel staff with maintaining some semblance of order on the evacuation. Assuming nothing horribly awry goes horribly awry. But I would find the rest of the group afterwards.
All right.
How is everyone?
Margaret is a little emotional.
Yeah.
She's in tears at this point.
The building next door, where Full Wilderness is, has also been evacuated. You can see smoke rising from places on it. It is definitely, and its glass outside structure, much of it has been destroyed. But there's not really any way to communicate. People are being herded. People are being put into places where they have medical aid.
Does it look like the town is in collapse, or does it look like the town has suffered some damage, but it's okay?
No, it looks like a disaster. It's very likely that it will take billions and billions of dollars if they want to rebuild. Some of the smaller buildings, some of the more sturdy buildings have survived with damage like broken windows, but the structure itself has remained pretty well. Buildings that were around 5 stories high are still evacuated, but they're in fairly decent condition, except for some of them have been literally ripped off their foundations and turned when the earthquake moved side to side.
Right.
Do we want to make our way to our lab?
Your lab from here would be miles away and impossible to get there except walking.
Well, Heather, you're the California native. What do we do?
Well, we want to stay away from the building. So if something falls from there, we're going to want to start thinking about procuring water because people don't have water. I mean, you can see how bad it is behind that bald guy with the beard. It looks really bad out there. So we need to start thinking about what we need to do to make it through the next 3 days.
Right. Hold on to the rest of that bottle. We could use it to disinfect water. It's not
Right.
going to be very palatable, but it won't make you sick.
Oh, we could always boil it too. I mean, it looks like there's plenty of flames around. So
Silver linings.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, main thing we need to start thinking about is where we're going to find shelter, because the night's going to come, and our hotel's not an option. So,
Were there any emergency services? Like, are they going to set up housing? Like, what do we do?
Eventually, hours are going to go by, and the National Guard has been called in. You begin to see soldiers making their way into the town. They are setting up a number of, I don't know what you call them, bivouacs. They're putting up tents. They're trying to clear some of the park areas that obviously didn't have stuff falling on them.
Parks, football stadiums, anything that's large open ground, parking lots,
parts of the university campus. So you eventually find yourself in one of those. They begin, they have blankets, but there's not enough for everyone, obviously. And the biggest problem now is fresh water and then food.
toilets.
Toilets, yeah. You have heard that the estimate is that there are thousands of people dead, and there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 600,000 refugees on the streets. There are several aftershocks. One is 6.8, one is 7.3, which just make more devastation. Buildings that were hanging on collapse, and there's screaming, and there's fires, and the air is filled with smoke. And it's a fucking disaster.
Hey, Heather. That's unfiltered.
yes, I agree.
And then when Jay wakes up, just say, "Welcome to hell."
Yeah. We warned you.
Holy crap.
What the fuck just happened?
So you slept through a, what was it, an 8.9 earthquake, and then a 6.8 and 7.8 aftershock.
The book. Where's the book?
We didn't grab the book.
I've got everything. It's fine. And also at minute 33, when I was out of the building, I knelt down and did the endurance chant, which I always do pointing toward the north now, because I have got some ideas about how things work. So I can help bring water to everyone.
Is that what you're going to do? You're going to help bring water? Who wants? I'm going to give you guys this. If you guys use the endurance chant and you actually help dig people out of the rubble, because there are people everywhere, and you're going to see, I think that the sanity loss in seeing somebody trapped will be offset by the joy of actually rescuing people from the rubble.
And also we'll be able to hear people who are calling from cellars and things.
Right.
Collapsed spaces. And if we ignore it, it'll be bad. But I'm helping. Real hard.
All right. You know what? I think that's a good spot to end it for tonight. leaving you all in squalor. Even though we started a little late, it's still a good spot, because then we can get into the next part. All right. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Brian Daly, Keith Craig, Jason Melnichuk, and David Gassaway. With yours truly as Keeper of the Secrets, we're currently producing up to 5 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure in the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.